Design feedback is very important, very huge topic, especially for design students and young designers. Because the feedbacks can really make your project way better, or it can be really misleading for you. So the question is, when you are following your own vision for the design project, what is the level that you need to follow the feedback, or even which feedback is valuable and which one is nonsense? It is not so easy to answer that. So first I'm going to talk about different situations, and then I'm going to tell you my current struggle with the Porsche project and the design feedback online. The first situation is the schools and your professors. I'm going to tell you a personal story here. I was a design student, industrial design student in Turkey for my bachelor's degree, and we had the main project lessons. So we basically do a project and we get feedback from our professors. And I was really arguing with my professors because I have a vision for a project, I believe in it, and my professor says, for example, go to another direction. And I'm like, why? Like, okay, you are professional, you are a designer, but it's about the vision, right? So how can you say it's wrong or it's right? Like technical things, yeah, you can comment on it. Something can be technically wrong, but about the vision, about the futuristic idea, about the like what will happen in 5 years, what will happen in 10 years to consumers or to a technology, how can you know better than me? Or, you know, there was always this thing in me that bothered me a lot, and I had to argue with the professors about this. It was actually my final graduation project, which is the construction vehicle for future, like a vision for construction vehicle. And I was thinking about a modular, electrical, of course, construction vehicle for the cities. And after I structured this story, this brief to myself, I started to sketch. I was searching for different aesthetical ideas as well, because I always wanted to be a car designer, but it was an industrial product design department, so they were a bit more technical. And they were asking me questions about some like, what's the weight of this vehicle, how this functions, how this something happens. And I was like, we can solve all these, but first I want to make it like aesthetically fitting to city, to urban environments. That was important to me, because I don't want to see this ugly, huge construction vehicles in the city. So I thought the aesthetics of this vehicle should also fit in the city, which plays a huge role in the people's life, right? So I wanted to get feedback like about the lines of this product, maybe the color, maybe how it fits, but the feedback was always about how this attachment will work. I'm not saying that it's not important, but they are more solvable in my opinion for the next phase, especially on a concept project. And anyway, my point is, it was so difficult to understand if the feedback is important and if I should just forget about my vision and follow what they say or not. And I realized, because there were more than one professors in this class, and sometimes one of them was not on the class, and the next week the one which was not there comes and the current one goes away. So like it was like a change, circulation of professors, and the feedback is totally different. And I realized you really cannot make everybody happy, right? Like let's say Professor A says focus on this and go to this direction, and I'm like, okay, I will just go to this direction a little bit. And the next week, Professor B says, no, that's not the best way. I think go to the other direction. And it's just, you get just lost, and you totally lost the vision of the project. The project starts to lose your interest anyway. And basically when you try to make everyone happy, you make no one happy. So this is one important thing. And my recommendation to students is definitely follow your vision. If you are clear on it, if you really believe in it, do your research, be confident about it, and follow it. But if you don't do your research, if you don't have a concrete idea, even if you are not sure yourself, how can you convince others that it's the right direction? So it's important, like, be confident, but also don't be just confident, you know, have the background of this idea, have a concrete, solid information or vision behind it to be confident. If you are curious what happened at the end, I followed my own vision and the project was pretty cool. Everybody was happy at the end because it was a finished project rather than getting confused and, you know, not finished, like meh type of project. It was a strong idea and I did it on my way. At the end, everybody came together and it worked. It's fine. I graduated, so it should work. Second situation is the companies. Like you are working in a company and you have design managers and they have other managers, or there's a client of your company. So now it's not a school anymore, because in school you can be more experimental and a bit more rebel maybe, but in the company it's better to go well with your manager, right? At some point. So I have stories again. I don't want to mention the names of the companies, but it happened more than once. So it's not a specific thing. So let's say there's a project there's a brief, and I start working on this brief. I create my own vision, I believe in it, I'm excited, everything is going well, in my opinion. Then there's a meeting, like internal meeting, only with the manager and me, like only 2 person. And the manager says, no, I don't like it, I think it's not the right direction. Same like the professors. And I'm like, okay, but I think that's what the client wants, or what the design leader gave us as a brief. I think that's the correct one. But the manager says no. So again, like, should you argue or not? I don't know. I tried a couple of times. It was a messy process, but eventually it was the manager. I was a young designer and I was like, okay, if you say so, I will do what you say. Then I changed my project, and I think we get another meeting with all the other designers, and everybody was telling me like, the original idea was better. The original was more into this vision. And also the design boss said, yeah, the other idea was good, so why did you change it, and so on. And I was like, you cannot say, oh, because the manager said that, so I wanted to, like, you cannot blame someone else for your own design, right? Because it's not other person's design. You cannot put the failure to them. So I learned there a lesson that if you really believe in that thing, it's better to try it, and if it doesn't work, at least it's your design, it's your failure, it's fine. But if you just follow someone else because of they said so, and if this design fails, you fail for someone else's idea. It's not even yours, so it feels way worse, I can tell you that. So in that stage, as much as you can push your own vision. That's why the companies hire you, for your own ideas, not to be another tool that does whatever the design manager says. Like whenever I listen to an interview about Chris Bangle, for example, he always says his approach was to give freedom to designers to follow their vision, not like, oh, this is my vision and all the other designers follow it. He says very clearly that he wanted each designer's vision to see it and then go from there. And I think it's very important. Like maybe design managers should listen to that and give this freedom to designers. Another short story is, in another company, we had a client, and the client gave the feedback, and I was like, again, started sketching, and my boss said that it's not a good direction, probably the client doesn't want it. But I was there on the client meeting, or I'm not even sure actually, maybe I just saw the brief. I was not there with the client, sorry, but I saw the brief, and what I understood from the brief was doing what I did. So my boss was upset because of I'm not listening him. But at the end, when clients saw my design, they were like, oh yeah, this is a good one. So the client was happy. And then my boss like didn't apologize, or like he doesn't need to apologize, but didn't even mention it. He just covered it, like nothing happened. It was a little bit heartbreaking, but it was also a little bit of happiness inside that shows that I was right about my vision and the client liked it. So it was a nice experience. And it's because of I followed my own vision, even if my boss said, don't go into this direction. So I think it's important to follow your own vision and be brave about it. Okay, the situation number 3 is, I think, the most difficult one, because now there's no design manager or design boss. You have directly the client. Like me now, I'm a freelance designer and I have my clients, and it is tricky sometimes because think about that. They pay you to design something they want. Let's say like it shouldn't be what they want. It should be for the need of the end user, whoever it is. Depends on the project. So it's not like the client shouldn't be like, oh, okay, I want this and that, do it that way. So if you are able to do it, you wouldn't hire me. So I'm the designer, I should develop the vision, I should solve the problems, I should define the design direction basically, right? Or at least I should be the main guide here to guide my client as well. But if you are not confident, it will create problems because, again, like the clients, generally they are not designers. And when they're not designers, they don't know how the process should go. They can change their mind every single day, and you can work on a project, I don't know, for infinite time. So like, I don't want to go into deep for how to create a freelance design strategy. If you're interested, write down on the comments, so maybe I can go into this direction a little bit more. But in general, what I want to say is you need to be the lead to educate also your clients about design. Like, they may have a vision, but how they will go there or how they will develop the product, the car, whatever it is on your hands, and you should be confident about that. But of course, also you need to be open to the feedback because they know some aspects better than you. That is their vision, their company, they are building these products, maybe they're already selling some of the products, so they know the market better than you. they know their target better than you, they know the budget better than you. Like, they are definitely important. You are just a designer on this whole big business idea, so the feedback is very important. If they tell you a feedback, you need to go through your own filter. If this feedback is good enough to change your design, or is it important enough? So when you are a freelance designer, you are not only a designer, you are also a design manager of yourself. So that's a bit more tricky, as I said, but still it's important to remember you are the designer. But after all these 3 situations and some stories I told you, still it is very heavy, like very complicated thing. Like, human psychology is complicated, so it's not that easy to like just follow your passion, follow your vision. It's not that easy. I recently saw a quote, but I don't remember who was it, so I will quickly take a look. Okay, it's Aristotle says, the best way to avoid criticism is do nothing, say nothing, be nothing. And it's exactly true. Like, if you're designing something, you put yourself on a creative journey and you are open to criticism, right? You will get feedbacks, you will get criticized, and it's fine. If you don't want any feedback in your life, if you don't want to be criticized, you shouldn't be a designer, in my opinion. You shouldn't go in a creative way, because everybody has something to say about this stuff. So even if I'm talking like I know something here, it's still hard for me to deal with the feedback sometimes. Like, nowadays I'm doing this Porsche project. If you follow me, you already know. By the way, if you are new, just subscribe channel for more car design content or design related content like this. On this Porsche project, I felt a bit stuck at some point, especially on the side view of the car. I was like, not convinced yet. I supposed to already start the front and the rear, and I already started those. Like, I'm designing the other parts of the car, but something didn't totally feel me, make me feel like confident on this. So I posted on Instagram and here on YouTube, and I asked, what do you think about this design? Which one of these is better? And first I posted this sketch, and many people liked it, but also there were comments like, it looks like Ferrari, it doesn't look like Porsche, it looks like this car, it doesn't fit the Porsche brand, it looks like this and that and blah blah. There are many comments, and I'm not saying they're not important, they are important enough. So I got super confused and I changed my direction a little bit, and I explored a bit more. I did other sketches and I post them as well, and I asked again, which one do you think is better? And especially on online feedback, you don't even know who is commenting what. What I realized, also some of you supported me on that, is people think about Porsche, for example, only 911, but there are many different models. There's a huge racing history. There is also like Mission X. It's also a different thing than 911, right? So I see on some comments, they talk like it has to look like a 911, but it's not. I'm trying to make a bit more hypercar or supercar type of Porsche, a different segment. I'm trying to push the boundaries, trying to be creative, but also still trying to put Porsche brand in it. And there were very valuable feedback from many different people, but also there were some feedback that I shouldn't follow. Because again, you cannot make everyone happy, and not everybody is right anyway. Like, again, right and wrong. Maybe I need to give more context about the project. Maybe I should always say what's the vision of projects, but it's also another thing. Like, I cannot explain everyone everything or convince everyone. So it's good to get all this feedback, but I felt a bit lost and I tried different things, and many of you also supported me. Thank you a lot. Thank you very much for that. Many of you said, yeah, this is a good direction. Don't worry about the comments. Just follow your heart, follow your vision. And I agree. Especially it's my personal project. It's not a client work. It's not in a design company. It's not a student project where I need to convince my professors or whatever. It's totally pure passion project. It's supposed to be. So why do I sweat a lot about this? It's good to have feedback still though, because many times it happens, even if my vision is this direction or whatever, when I get feedback, I generally feel like, okay, we need to change it. And I'm a bit lazy about it, let's say. But it happened many times when I followed the feedback, the design really got better. It became more mature, I found maybe better ideas, it was more impressive and fitting to the brand and whatever. So I'm okay with feedbacks, even if it's a bit hurts me, but it's also very important to follow the passion, follow the heart. And another very important thing on personal projects, especially, you need a deadline. Like, without a deadline, I can just sketch again and again and again and again the side view of many different type of Porsches, especially because of, I think it's my favorite brand. It's very hard to just stop and say, okay, I'm gonna develop this. But soon the Porsche, Designing My Dream Porsche episode 3 is coming. I'm working on that, and thank you so much for your support. If you didn't watch the previous episodes, you can watch the episode 1 and episode 2 here. And about the feedbacks, be confident, follow your heart, follow your vision, but also it's okay to just be open-minded to see the feedbacks. It's a complicated topic, but I hope it helped. If yes, please throw it on the like button, and if you are new to the channel, welcome, subscribe for more car design content. See you on the next one.